All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to tackle a really fascinating and, complex issue: the structure of the modern Black family. We're going to be using the analysis in Beyond Breadwinners to unpack some pretty surprising stats, question a theory that's been dominant for decades, and maybe, just maybe, find a whole new way of looking at things. Let's get into it.
Right off the bat, this one statistic pretty much says it all. I mean, look at this. Black mothers are more than 3 times as likely as white mothers to be single parents. We're talking 52% versus just 16%. A number that big doesn't just happen, it's the result of some deep, really complex forces. And that's what we're here to try and understand. Okay, so before we can even get to the why, we really need to get a clear sense of the what. So let's start with a quick statistical snapshot, just to see the full scope of the situation.
And this is where the picture gets even sharper. It's not just about single motherhood. Get this: 70% of births to Black women happen outside of marriage. And look at this other number. Black women in their 40s are 5 times more likely to have never married than white women. This isn't just a blip on the radar. It's a fundamental shift in how families are formed.
So, all of this data, it naturally leads us to the biggest question of all, right? Why? What is actually going on here?
For decades, one classic explanation has really stood above all the others to try and answer that why. It's called the marriageable man theory. So what is it? Well, at its core, it's a pretty simple economic argument from sociologist Julius Wilson. He basically argued that when men are struggling financially, the pool of what you might call marriageable partners gets a lot smaller. And if there are fewer marriageable men, well, you're going to see fewer marriages. Makes sense on the surface. You can kind of think of it like a chain reaction. First, you've got these major economic hurdles that hit Black men especially hard. Then, according to the theory, that leads to a shortage of financially stable partners. And the last link in the chain, fewer people get married. It's a pretty straightforward economic take on the whole marriage market. But this is where our source material just throws a huge wrench in the works. The author is really uncomfortable with this theory, and you can see why in this quote. To be marriageable, a man has to be a breadwinner. How outdated and sexist. I mean, that's not just a minor critique. That is a direct shot at the entire foundation of the theory, this old school idea about gender roles. And that uncomfortable feeling, that's exactly what we're going to dig into next. It's time to start challenging some of these assumptions that have been around for a long, long time. But here's the paradox, right? If the theory feels so sexist, why does the basic idea that a partner's financial stability really matters, why does that still ring true for so many people, especially inside the Black community? It feels like a total contradiction. Well, the answer, it turns out, isn't as simple as just throwing the old theory in the trash. The real surprising truth starts to come out when we look closer at what different communities actually value in a partner. So let's move beyond that simple breadwinner stereotype and take a look at a much more complex reality. And this slide, this is the key. Just look at these numbers. For the male provider role, 84% of Black Americans say it's very important, no huge surprise. But now, look at the female provider role. A whopping 52% of Black Americans say it's very important for women to provide, compared to only 27% of white Americans. That's nearly double. This is the piece of the puzzle that changes everything. So, what this is telling us is powerful. This isn't about some outdated stereotype of a male breadwinner. No, it's about the very modern, very real economic necessity of having 2 breadwinners. It's a strategy for mutual survival, for mutual support. But this reality, where everyone is struggling to get ahead economically, it can lead to a really dangerous way of thinking, like it's a zero-sum game. Does focusing on the economic struggles of Black men somehow have to come at the expense of Black women? And this is not just some theoretical danger. This slide, it shows a truly shocking quote from a 1965 letter by Daniel Patrick Moynihan. He literally suggested that to get Black men working, we might have to displace some females. I mean, that is that toxic zero-sum mindset made terrifyingly real. It's a powerful warning from history. Which brings us to our final section. How do we reject this false choice? How do we find a way to rise together, not apart? Let's just give this flawed thinking a name, shall we? It's the zero-sum fallacy. It's this totally incorrect belief that for one person to gain something, another person has to lose, that helping men must automatically mean hurting women. And the core argument of our source material is a powerful rejection of that fallacy. It's simple, but it's absolutely essential.
Raising men up does not mean holding women down.
The alternative vision isn't about picking winners and losers in some kind of imaginary battle. It's about realizing that shared struggles demand shared progress. The only way forward is rising together.
And so, this entire analysis leaves us right here with one final crucial question. It's a question that goes way beyond theory and into the real world of policy and community and culture. What does it truly take to rise together? That's the essential question we all need to be asking.